Today we're talking about death. Yeah, I played Persona 3, what else would I be talking about? Spring has sprung, the birds are chirping, the lambs are on the way. So I'm going to contemplate Oblivion. Can you tell I live in the UK? I'm sure it goes without saying this, but there's spoilers for Persona 3 in this video, so don't watch it if you haven't finished the game. Go away, please, thank you. Good. Speaking of spoilers, I was spoiled for Persona 3. It's almost like the entire Persona fandom blasts the full ending of Persona 3 every time the 5th of March rolls around. Seriously, every 5th of March I see, this one meme right there. So I went into Reload knowing that the character I was going to play as was destined to die. I didn't know how he dies, but I knew it would happen. And I'm kind of glad that I did know. Let me explain. So you might not have picked up on it, as it's inserted into the game very subtly, but death is an ongoing theme in Persona 3. Not with sarcasm. People die a lot. Everyone here has loved ones, mainly parents who have died or die during the game, and the moon is featured prominently, symbol of death, so clearly they want us to think about dying. It's a very cheerful game, this one. I stepped into this high schooler simulator knowing the exact date my character would kick the bucket, when he would buy the farm, and when he would slumber with the fishes, so to speak. And that made me view all of the events in the game differently, and altered how the in-game passage of time felt to me. It was basically just a countdown. It's a pretty cool angle to immersion in a game, since just like the real world, I'm very aware of my impending death. Although in the game I know the exact date of my death, unlike real life. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna guess my actual death will be on the 7th of January 2063 at 8:32 PM. So subscribe to find out if I'm right about that. Anyway, at first I wasn't really thinking too much about the endgame. I was just attending school, working my way through Tartarus, and listening to Kenji talk about banging teachers or something. But as things move on, I get more attached to the characters like the members of SEAS, and I get very familiar with the world my character lives in, it slowly starts to sink in. Oh, I should make the most of this. This is something special right here. It's almost like a condensed simulator of life, which I get isn't a revolutionary statement about a Persona game, but playing Persona 3 with the ending spoiled allows you to experience a representation of how a person's attitude towards dying can change throughout their life. Death in this isn't something far off, many years down the line like it is for me, who is going to die on the 7th of January 2063 at the age of 59. In this game, it's only just a few hours of gameplay away. Gloomy, right? We talk about fun topics here in the Silas OS channel. We like to do some fun things here, yeah. I like playing this game, pretending to be this persona-wielding guy and chilling with his friends. But once I got towards winter in the game, a weird feeling entered my system. Dread. Why can't a fella just watch TV with Koromaru for eternity? Why does time have to march on regardless of my desires? The dread encroaches, the days get darker, and the calendar animation moves from today to tomorrow at the same speed it always does. Nothing can stop it. I make sure to do every interaction with all my favorite characters, all the Akihiko events, the Mitsuru and Yukari social links. I make the time to see where the story of a random alcoholic monk ends up going. I even take time out of my day to talk to Tanaka, for some reason. After all, this game doesn't have the same level of comfort as other Persona games I've played, where even though the characters part ways at the end, I know they'll hang out with each other for the rest of their lives. Because the protagonist dies. The guy I've poured hours of time into developing and projecting myself onto won't make it to the end of the school year. As time passes, the dread grows, to the point where I was sort of hesitant to finish the game. But I pressed on because I'm very brave. Now eventually January rolls around, and your fellow party members are put in a similar situation. They're told by Ryoji that the fall will take place on the 31st of January, and that is when they and everyone else will die. It was definitely interesting to see how the characters would respond to the same thing I'd been feeling throughout the game, and sort of turn it into like a simulated shared experience, if that makes sense. What killed me throughout January was everyone resolving to look optimistically towards the future and to make plans for their lives, But I know that the protagonist would not be a part of those plans, no matter how resolute the members of Cease seemed. Someone must have been cutting onions when I promised Koromaru he could live with me after Nyx was defeated, because my eyes were leaking. They were just leaking, guys. I've got hay fever. Someone was cutting the grass at the time. You get it, you understand. Men don't cry after all. On top of that, every song throughout January was replaced with very somber pieces that were brilliant, but didn't help to alleviate that feeling of dread I was talking about. Throughout the existential crisis, the point is hammered home that the most beautiful part of life is the connections we make along the way. I feel like this point came to fruition in my mind during the Rank 9 event with Aigis when she drops this line.
When you think about it, it's a miracle that two given people are able to ever meet in this chaotic flow of time and space.
That's a great line right there, like a peak Stephen Moffat Doctor Who line. You know when he would just randomly lock in and write the best story you've ever seen out of nowhere? It's that kind of line in my opinion. Someone watching gets it, I know that. And as you know, the protagonist fights Nyx and sacrifices his soul to seal Nyx away. He holds on to life until the 5th of March, since he promised to reunite with Cease on graduation day. That scene with Aigis messed me up. I slowly realized what was happening in this scene. It took me a while to get it, and boy did I not want this to go down. Reload provided beautiful visuals for this scene, and the song playing was just perfect. All I could do was watch as my character slowly slipped away from the land of the living. I've said before that Persona 5 Royal's final fist fight with Maruki was the most difficulty I've had pushing a button in a video game. Because I like Maruki and I do not want to hit him. Why would I do that? Well, Persona 3 has trumped that scene. Eventually, in the final moments, Aigis tells you to close your eyes, and this prompt shows up. Alright, this is embarrassing. I'm getting vulnerable here. This is big for me, guys. This is big for me. But this scene, I just blurted out loud, but I don't want to do that, and picked the ellipsis option. The ending of Persona 3 was purely heartbreaking, and I was devastated to just imagine Cease getting to the roof of the school, only to find their leader lying there, dead. Alright, so I played a game that I would call a pretty good death simulator. I got to live a life and experience how my feelings towards the idea of death changed throughout that life. So what did I learn from this experience? Well, I've always been very nonchalant about the idea of death. I was sure it'll probably be fine. Why should I worry about that sort of thing? I'm only 20 after all. But having experienced what Persona 3 unexpectedly made me feel, I realized I'm completely, absolutely, unequivocally afraid of dying. I like being alive, and there's so many good things out here. Why would I want to leave? Death is scary. Can you believe it? Oh my god, it's so scary. Oh.
I'm going to die.
But as I said before, the game preaches that life is all about making connections with other people. And just like you, those people too will die. Which kinda sucks, but the pain of losing a connection isn't enough to stop us from seeking them out. What would you be without those connections after all? You know, maybe this game just sort of fast-forwarded my midlife crisis. I feel as though part of the intention of Persona 3 was to teach people to not fear death, but it didn't have that effect on me. It has changed my outlook on things, and already since playing the game, I've made plans to experience different things I never would have done a few months ago. But what will stick out for me the most was the growing fear as I moved closer towards the 5th of March. I was scared of leaving. I was scared of being gone. I wouldn't say I have a point to make here. I think I just made this video as a diary entry of sorts. Persona 3 made me feel really weird. I wanted to be able to record my thoughts on it so I can look back on it when I want to. I suppose it could be interesting to see how my real-world attitude towards death changes as I age, and compare it to what I say in this video, to see if the game really did condense the arc of a human's feelings of death into just 60 hours like I said it does. I'll find out with time, I guess. I've only got until the 7th of January 2063 after all.